Over a year has passed since Tencent acquired Clay. Did they ruin Don't Starve? Tencent has made some changes, but Don't Starve was already a game with one major issue: little to no replayability, and it still has little to no replayability. Now, a lot of people like games like that. They think $1 for 1 hour played is great, which from what I see, most people get 50 to 100 hours out of their $15 purchase of Don't Starve together, and they can give a copy to a friend. So by that rule, it's a good value. But I don't like that rule, and I don't think that rule applies to games that don't have an overarching story or anything like that. There are many games nowadays where you can pay nothing or close to it and have practically infinite replayability, such as games like Minecraft once you add in community plugins and mods. I believe Don't Starve could have been great in that same way, but Clay didn't decide to take the game in that direction with Don't Starve Together. Don't Starve Together's progression style is built on learning from unavoidable deaths, whereas the original Don't Starve had hints that these dangers would come. It wasn't by any means perfect, but it was a bit better at it. Your first death, if you go into the game completely blind, will be on night 1 to Charlie from not having light. Your next death will be to a hound attack, and so on and so forth. Each of these deaths leads the player to search for a guide on YouTube, which makes it quite a good game to make YouTube videos on despite the game being tiny. If Don't Starve was focused on making the main obstacles avoidable deaths that the player could foresee ahead of time, it would be much less frustrating to play and could have flourished a large returning player base rather than a one and done player base. On top of the game's focus on very difficult to impossible to foresee dangers, it hides some of its best items. The torch, the football helmet, crockpot, icebox, and hammer are all low in the crafting grid, meaning new players take a while to try them. Back before the farming update, this caused the majority of the player base to think farming was a good method to gather food, when it was arguably the worst method in the entire game. Farms were just the top crafting item in the food tab. There will always be better items and worse items, but there should be an effort to make these items have some level of balance, unless the goal is to intentionally add artificial difficulty to the game, which is exactly what Don't Starve is doing. It badly wants to be a hard game, but it has no depth to its one mechanical skill, kiting, so it makes up for this with all these artificial difficulty layers. For anyone still playing and enjoying Don't Starve, I'm going to ruin that for you right now. Build a hammer at the start of the game, hammer pig houses, and wear football helmets always for the rest of the game. The players who stick around to play for thousands of hours generally like building pretty bases, barely even playing the game itself after 100 days or so in and using it as a more complex version of MS Paint. I don't understand these players. If the goal is pretty bases, Minecraft is the better choice. If it's functional bases, Factorio is the better choice. These are just the tip of the iceberg for Don't Starve's gameplay problems, and now buying the game goes straight into Tencent's pockets, which is another tendril of the Chinese government's effort to spy on everyone on Earth. There's a reason why turning data collection off turns off multiplayer on the game. Luckily, from what I've seen, a lot of people made the same decision I did and left Don't Starve from the English fan base at least. The game seems to be doing better than ever overall, but only in the Chinese market. It surprises me that there are any full-time YouTubers left making videos on Don't Starve, as the English fan base has shrunk so much that you can't pay the bills doing that anymore. And I'm glad that Don't Starve YouTubers are all going to starve, exactly what the game they make videos for tells them not to do. To any Don't Starve YouTubers watching this, you're a bootlicking shill and you couldn't see a bad decision if it was written in bold letters on your bedroom ceiling.